83-year-old President Alassane Ouattara announced last month that he would seek a fourth term in October's elections, arguing that a 2016 constitutional change had reset the clock on his already 14-year tenure of the world's largest cocoa producer. Although candidates have until the final week of August to register, Ouattara's path appears clear after Thiam was removed from the electoral roll in April by an Abidjan court on the grounds that he was a French citizen at the time of the registration. Another opposition figure, former President Laurent Gbagbo, remains barred from running because of a conviction linked to the country's second civil war. Here is a report.
Former Ivorian President Laurent Gbagbo rallied supporters in Abidjan criticizing incumbent President Alassane Ouattara's bid for a fourth term ahead of October's presidential election. Gbagbo, leader of the African People's Party of Côte d'Ivoire, addressed a large crowd of chanting supporters, many holding posters with his image. Banners opposing Ouattara's re-election attempt were prominently displayed. Gbagbo, along with former Prime Minister Guillaume Soro, is barred from running in the upcoming election due to criminal convictions related to the country's 2010-11 post-election crisis.
Why would anyone want to serve 4 terms in Côte d'Ivoire? Why? Why would anyone believe that? I refuse.
Last month, the African Court on Human and People's Rights rejected petitions from both Gbagbo and Soro challenging their exclusion from the electoral process. The decision has further complicated Ivory Coast's political landscape, with several opposition figures unable to contest the October 25 vote.
The third term he is currently finishing is even illegal, but not content with completing an illegal third term, he wants to run for a fourth. I would like all of you here to go and tell him that he will not serve a fourth term.
As Gbagbo was rallying his supporters in the capital, bullet-riddled buildings still line some streets in Ivory Coast's former rebel capital, Bouake. But in the run-up to his third re-election bid, President Alassane Ouattara is keen to turn the city into a symbol of recovery. It was the first time Bouake hosted independence festivities in over 60 years, sending the message that peace has returned after the civil war that preceded Ouattara's swearing-in 2011. Yet, away from the pomp of official ceremonies, ex-combatants and other Bouake residents tell a more complex story of lingering division and economic struggle.
Celebrating independence in Bouake shows that the crisis is completely behind us, and that today the country is truly unified. On the economic front, don't forget that Bouake is the second economic capital of Ivory Coast. Obviously, the movement of the head of state, all institutions and all these populations to Bouake for this event will create economic enthusiasm, tourism dynamism, and all this will help boost the economy of the Gbagbo region.
Ivory Coast, the world's biggest cocoa producer, effectively split in two after a rebellion in 2002 against then-President Laurent Gbagbo. And Bouake became the headquarters of the new force's rebels, many of them from Ouattara's Dioula ethnic group. The war was largely a result of xenophobic policies against farmers from Burkina Faso and Mali that also targeted northern Ivorians with cultural ties to them. Thousands of UN peacekeepers deployed and new elections were held in 2010, but Gbagbo refused to accept defeat with Ouattara, setting off 4 months of violence that killed around 3,000 people. Ouattara, a former international banker who announced last month he would seek re-election, is widely credited for Ivory Coast's steady economic growth since he took office.
Bouake is on the path to reconciliation, and we are working so that populations living in the communal territory and in the regional territory can reconcile through concerted actions, through concerted activities. This is the work we do in the regions and locality.
The exclusion of Gbagbo and Thiam, leader of the opposition PDCI party, from the next ballot means the climate could be tense again when Ivorians vote on October 25. Doumbia is nevertheless optimistic that these issues can eventually be resolved for good. Africa Bureau, WION, World is One.